One of the most critical periods of your crop's life is the first 20 days. Whether it's corn, whether it's soybeans, and whether it's 120 days, 140 days of being alive on your farm, those first 20 days are terribly critical. Corn's fragile. Soybeans simply deserve more respect. You're on the ground today with Rob Seco. I'm Todd Claussen. Corn, fragile. Yes, it's all about conditions. The window of optimum performance, the window of planting date of optimum performance on your farm is as wide as 3 weeks of optimum performance. So get a better day, have better conditions, because the intent as we plant corn should be for every plant to look like every other plant. You have a neighbor that plants when it's too wet? That's a problem, because the separation of emergence tends to be greater if it's too wet, if it's too cold. You want conditions to be great. What we know about corn, separation and emergence from day to day to day, on average, it takes 5.5 days for all of our corn to come out of the ground. All of our corn from spike from the first spike to the time they're all spiked is about 5.5 days. Well, if you have a 2-day separation from day 1 to day 3, that's a penalty on the plant that comes up 2 days later. Our data would say it's about 15%, maybe 18%. It's about 100 kernels on an ear that puts on 600 to 630 kernels. There's other data in the industry that said it is a much more severe penalty for that separation of day to day to day. So the idea around corn, it's fragile. You need to plant in best conditions possible, because your window of optimum performance is much wider than we think. When I think about where we are today, we're just north of the I-80 corridor. We're south of Highway 141 in Iowa. Right here, that optimum window might be April 25th through May the 16th. That's a pretty wide window. Soybeans, let's turn the corner and talk about soybeans. Soybeans deserve more respect. They need to get in the ground. How many nodes on a soybean plant? Well, it depends on when you plant them. Every day matters when it comes to soybeans. Now, do conditions matter? Yes, they do, but conditions are probably secondary to optimum timing for soybean planting date. Soybeans are triggered from vegetative to reproductive phase by the length of daylight. Actually, as daylight starts to shorten and the dark period starts to lengthen after the summer solstice, June 21st, that's what triggers soybeans to go from vegetation to reproductive stage. So the earlier that you can plant soybeans, the more potential stem area that you have, the more node area that you have, more nodes, more flowers, more pods, more beans. It makes a difference. So really the window of optimum performance in soybean planting date is much more narrow than it is for corn. And the very best planting date for performance of soybeans on your farm is always the first planting dates. Every day that we delay planting soybeans is approximately 1/2 bushel per acre per day penalty for every day we don't plant soybeans. So back to it. The first 20 days of your crop's life are the most critical, the most important to its goal of reproducing itself in 130 to 140 days. If you need help on your farm, please give us a call. You've been on the ground today with Rob Seco. I'm Todd Claussen.